Well, the Investec derby grows ever nearer, and here for an Ante-Post look at the contest. I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Nick Watts and Graham Rodway. And so then, gentlemen, we'll begin with you, Nick. Camelot heads the market at 4 to 5, and do you think they got the price right with that one?
Possibly. It's not something that gets me excited or it's going to get me lumping on particularly. But yeah, he probably does deserve to be favourite. He's a Guineas winner, and that's always a good trial for the derby. See, the Stars did the double, new approach, ran in the race. Then went on to win at Epsom. So yeah, and being a son of Montjo, he's probably never destined or shouldn't have been ready to win a Guineas, but he has. That said, I wasn't massively impressed or blown away with his performance at Newmarket. He might not be in love with the ground, but he struggled to get on top. He did get on top and he won the race. He should be better at a mile and a half. So from that perspective, you know, we can expect an improved performance from Camelot or improvement on what he showed at Newmarket at Epsom, but I don't know if he's absolutely bomb-proof. You know, his form, he's won all 3 out of 3, so you can't crab him too much. But I mean, the form he showed at 2, visually very, very impressive, but didn't beat a lot. And then came to the Guineas, did the job, but I think you'd be hard-pressed to say, wow, that was amazing, or if it blew anyone away. So I'm certainly not going to lump on at the price he is at the moment, particularly as though there's not much mileage in it, because I can't see it getting that much shorter.
Okay, and then Graham, you've got the Dante winner, Bonfire, at around 6 to 1. Would you be more interested in Bonfire at 6 to 1 to set the racing world alight, as Salty Peter says on Facebook, or do you think Camelot round 4 to 5 is a serious wager, given he's already got the form in the book?
I completely agree on Camelot with Watsy. Yeah, he looks good, he's unbeaten, he's done nothing wrong, but he don't look a world beater, I don't think. Alright, maybe a mile was too short, maybe he didn't like the ground, but who knows, really, we don't know yet.
There's a lot of maybes in that sentence for an odds-on shot.
Yeah, who knows if he's going to be better at a mile and a half. I know he's bred to be, but that doesn't necessarily mean he will be. Bonfire was the value alternative before he won the Dante. Tom Siegel put him up Ante-Post, which crashed the price. Then he won the Dante, further crashed the price, and I think he's about the right price. Bonfire now, he's done very little wrong. Bit unlucky not to win a Group 1 last season at St Cloud, and then won the Dante nicely. There's doubts about him staying on pedigree, and to be fair to Andrew Baldwin, he's come out and said exactly the same. He's not entirely sure he'll get the trip. And at 6 to 1, he's another one I don't want to take a chance on. Okay, well, if you don't want to take a chance on those two, what further down the list do you want to take a chance on? Well, he might not be a world beater, but I've been just as impressed with Main Sequence as I have been with Camelot.
David Lanigan.
Even though that Camelot has won the Guineas, and obviously Main Sequence has, you know, only won the Lingfield Derby trial, but Main Sequence is unbeaten, much in the same sense as Camelot is, and he could be absolutely anything. I think with an unbeaten horse, you'd never quite know how good they are until they get beaten. He may well be keeping a little bit back to himself, and I got that impression when he won the Derby trial at Lingfield. I thought he won with a little bit in hand. I know he didn't win by all that far, but I always thought he had the race under control, and I thought once he got to the front, he was just doing enough. So yeah, he needs to improve, there's no doubt about that. But David Lanigan's got huge confidence in him, so is the rider Ted Durkin. And I think 14 to 1 is a fair price each way in a race that lacks any great strength in depth. Okay then, so that's Main Sequence for Graham around 14 to 1. And Nick, you're going to look elsewhere within the Ballydoyle battalions for some each way value.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Imperial Monarch. Yeah, like we said before, he's not the Ballydoyle first string, but that often doesn't matter in this race. They've run some big price horses in the past, and quite often they've hit the frame. And there was one such last year in Treasure Beach. He was by no means the first string, but ran an absolute corker and all but won the race. Imperial Monarch comes into the same category as Main Sequence, really. He's unbeaten. We're not quite sure how good he might be. Won his maiden last season, then went to Sandown in one Bet365 day, absolutely atrocious conditions. Joseph O'Brien, very audacious ride going round where the ambulances go, looking for better ground, and gave away a huge amount of ground. But was proven right in the end because he won going away by a length and 3/4. Beat a horse called Thought Worthy, who boosted the form to a degree at Newmarket last weekend. Could turn out to be John Gosden's St Ledger horse, so it might not be a bad.
Beat Noble Mission, Frankel's brother.
That's right, yeah. So I mean that form doesn't look bad by itself. Probably, well, you'd think it would need improving upon because I'm not sure it's how strong, how good Thought-Worthy is yet, or how strong that trial was as a whole. And the worrying thing is, if from a negative perspective, is that Ballydoyle don't traditionally use that race at Sandown for their best horses. I think it's the first time they'd actually won the race. But that said, you know, he couldn't do any more than what he did. His form has come on soft ground. I'm not particularly concerned about that because he's very closely related to the Great Gatsby, who was another Ballydoyle Derby horse who finished second behind Chris Kin. That was on decent ground. And I think it would be dangerous to assume that he's just a mudlark because he did win in such testing conditions. I think there's no reason why he shouldn't be more effective on faster ground. He's definitely going to stay the trip on breeding. And this is a bit of a moribund market for me at the moment. Camelot's not going to change that much. Bonfire's not going to change that much. The only two horses I can see, three horses getting slightly shorter are Main Sequence, G-Rod's horse. Parish Hall if he won the Guineas at the weekend, but it's a tough ask to try and win 2 classics within the space of a week. It's audacious, and we probably should talk a bit about Parish Hall in a minute and whether we think it's it's the right thing to do or what's going to happen with him. But yeah, he's a very interesting horse, obviously. An Imperial Monarch, who, you know, is 16 to 1 at the moment, could well start single figures on the day, just because I can't see a lot of confidence behind anything else or anything at big prices that's going to be a sudden plunge horse on the day, because I think the ones at big prices genuinely don't have a lot of chance of winning this.
Okay then, so yeah, they look for Imperial Monarch for Nick there around the 14, 16 to 1 mark. And Graham, Nick touched upon Parish Hall, who's my best bet around 16 to 1. Now I know he's got a week's gap between the two races, but like Satia Philo, new approach, he's shown before he can, you know, pull off the double if you like. And Bolger said, look, he's probably the toughest horse I've ever had in my yard, and you know, doesn't seem overly concerned about the gap between the two. And if anything, he thinks he'll come on for his comeback run.
It's audacious. It's an audacious attempt by Jim Bolger. He's done it before, obviously, with Vincent Beer running 3 times in the space of 2 weeks or something and winning a couple of classics. And the problem with Parish Hall for me is he might be tough, but I'm not sure he's that good.
He is a Dewhurst winner, and he's the same price as a handicap winner in Main Sequence, would be my argument.
I don't think the Dewhurst was a strong race. I know there was a lot of money for Power, who finished second in the Guineas, and he was very disappointing. And they all finished in a bit of a heap. I didn't really like that race's form, and there's nothing that's come out of the Dewhurst this season to make me think Parish Hall is anything outstanding. And don't get me wrong, there is scope for him to shorten a little bit if he does run well at the weekend. There's no doubt about that. And from an Ante-Post perspective, if you want to trade, maybe you might want to take a bit of a chance on Parish Hall, because probably if he does run in the first 3 in the Guineas, he'd probably shorten up a little bit. And it's probably likely he will run in the first 3, but I'm not sure he's good enough to win a derby. That would be my worry.
Okay, Nick, have you got any? What would be your view on Parish Hall?
Yeah, I tend to agree with G-Rod on this one. I did, to begin with, think the Dewhurst form might work out, but having had a longer chance to have a look at it now, Power was atrocious in the race at Newmarket. Ran like his legs were tied together. He was awful. And they did finish in a bit of a heap, and they might just be much of a muchness. So
that said, Parish Hall should improve for a step up in trip.
Yeah, I mean, you can't crab Parish Hall for win. You can't do any more than win the race, and that's what he did. But if you're asking me if I fancy him, then I would say no.
Okay, well, I'm going to keep flying the flag for Parish Hall myself. I'm not getting through, but okay, then, gentlemen, very quickly, is there anything at bigger prices, likes of we've got Mick Dam, Chester Vase winner, or Mandaean, or anything else here we could see running into the frame?
Astrology was very impressive at Chester, but I just had a quick look down the Ante-Post list, and he's quoted everywhere apart from Ladbrokes. And I don't know whether it's true or not, but a lot of people talk about Ladbrokes having some sort of inside knowledge at Ballydoyle, and the fact that they don't quote astrology concerns me a little. But anything below astrology, I think you can put a big line through them. Okay,
there's quite a few people interested in astrology. David Tahini, as I mentioned, he's fancied astrology since his good run in Futurity, and there's 2 or 3 other people here all chipping in and think he is each way value. But as you say, will be run.
It's a risky proposition, I think. If you're going to take on Ladbrokes, who ain't even quoting it, and take 20 to 1 about it now, you might as well wait to the day. What's the difference to the price? It's going to be about 6 points. There's not a lot of risk in it. I don't think it's worth taking a 6-point risk on it turning up.
Okay, then, in conclusion, then, gentlemen, Imperial Monarch for Nick. We've got Main Sequence for Graham, and I'm in the Parish Hall camp. The audacious double, fingers crossed. So thanks for watching. See you all again soon.